Girl went for interview. Didn't know the CEO was her husband who ran away from marriage 2 years ago. Imagine walking into a room, your heart pounding with nerves, dressed in your best outfit, ready to prove yourself for a job you've been dreaming of. Now imagine looking up and seeing the one face you never expected, the person who shattered your world 2 years ago. That's exactly what happens to our protagonist, Mira. In this emotional roller coaster of a story, she steps into an interview room, completely unaware that the CEO sitting across from her is none other than Arjun, the man she once loved deeply, the man who vanished without a word just days before their wedding. What unfolds next will leave you questioning fate, trust, and second chances. Mira is not just any girl. She's resilient, hardworking, and determined to carve out her own path in life. Despite the scars left by Arjun's betrayal, life hasn't been easy for her since he disappeared. She poured all her pain into building herself up professionally, working tirelessly to land opportunities like this one at a prestigious company. Today feels like the culmination of everything she has worked for. But as she sits there, nervously, fidgeting with her resume, something about the interviewer seems eerily familiar. At first, it's just a fleeting thought. His voice, maybe? The way he tilts his head when he asks questions. Then it hits her. Her breath catches in her throat, and time seems to freeze. It's him, Arjun, and he looks just as shocked as she does. The tension in the room becomes almost unbearable. Neither of them says a word for what feels like an eternity. For Mira, memories come flooding back. Memories of laughter, promises, dreams they had built together, and then the crushing silence of his absence. On their wedding day, how could he sit there so calmly now, acting like nothing happened? Meanwhile, Arjun's mind races too. He hadn't expected this. Not in a million years. Seeing Mira again stirs emotions he thought he'd buried long ago. Guilt, regret, and even a flicker of hope battle inside him. Yet neither of them knows where to begin or how to address the elephant in the room. Instead, they awkwardly continue the interview, each trying to maintain composure while their worlds threaten to unravel. As the interview progresses, snippets of their past keep creeping in. Arjun asks about teamwork, and Mira recalls the countless projects they used to work on together during college. When she talks about overcoming challenges, her voice wavers slightly, thinking of the biggest challenge she ever faced, losing him. Arjun listens intently, noticing subtle changes in her demeanor. She's grown stronger, more confident, yet traces of the woman he loved remain. He can't help but wonder if she still hates him, or if there's any chance she might forgive him someday. On the other hand, Mira struggles to focus on answering questions, her mind reeling with unanswered ones of her own. Why did he leave? Where did he go? Does he even realize the depth of the hurt he caused? What makes this moment even more complicated is the role reversal between them. 2 years ago, Arjun was just another struggling professional, relying on Mira's unwavering support. Now, he's the powerful CEO calling the shots, while she's the nervous candidate, hoping to impress. This dynamic adds layers of complexity to their encounter, highlighting how much both their lives have changed. For Mira, it's humbling to be in this position, especially knowing that the man who broke her heart holds the power to shape her future. For Arjun, it's equally unsettling. Watching her fight for a chance proves how far she's come and how much he underestimated her resilience. Despite the heavy undercurrents, neither of them lets their guard down completely. They exchange polite smiles and professional banter, but beneath the surface, emotions simmer dangerously close to boiling over. As the interview nears its end, Arjun hesitates before asking the final question, a behavioral one about handling personal conflicts in the workplace. The irony isn't lost on either of them. Mira takes a deep breath, choosing her words carefully. Conflicts are inevitable, she begins, her gaze steady despite the storm raging inside her. But resolving them requires honesty, communication, and sometimes forgiveness. Her response hangs in the air, thick with unspoken meaning. Arjun stares at her, momentarily speechless. Is she talking about work or them? Just when it seems like the ordeal is over, Arjun surprises her by saying, "We'll let you know the results soon." But instead of ending the meeting there, he adds, "Could you stay back for a few minutes? There's something I need to discuss." His tone is calm, almost casual, but his eyes betray a mix of apprehension and determination. Mira nods reluctantly, unsure of what to expect. Her heart pounds as she watches him dismiss the HR representative and close the door behind them. Now, they're alone. The air crackles with anticipation, and every second feels heavier than the last. Whatever he wants to say, it's clear this conversation won't be about the job anymore. Before he can speak, Mira finds herself blurting out, "Why are you doing this?" Her voice trembles with a mix of anger and vulnerability. "You disappeared. Without a trace, Arjun. You left me standing at the altar, wondering what I did wrong. And now, here you are, pretending like nothing happened." Tears well up in her eyes, but she refuses to let them fall. She wants answers, not excuses. Arjun looks at her, guilt etched across his face. "I know I messed up, Mira," he admits softly, "but things weren't as simple as they seemed back then. I couldn't stay. I didn't have a choice." His words only fuel her frustration. "No choice. Really, you could have explained, fought for us, done something. But instead, you ran away." Their confrontation grows heated, each word cutting deeper than the last. Yet, amidst the anger and pain, there's also a glimmer of raw honesty. Both of them are finally confronting the unresolved issues that have haunted them for years. Arjun tries to explain his side, revealing fragments of secrets he's kept hidden all this time. Secrets that forced him to make impossible decisions. Secrets that may change everything Mira thought she knew about him. But before he can fully disclose the truth, someone knocks on the door, interrupting their intense exchange. It's a senior manager, reminding Arjun of an urgent meeting he can't miss. Reluctantly, Arjun apologizes and tells Mira they'll have to continue this later. She agrees, though her mind is anything but settled. Walking out of the office, she's overwhelmed with conflicting emotions. Part of her wants to walk away and never look back, but another part, a stubborn, hopeful part, can't ignore the possibility that there's more to his story. Meanwhile, Arjun rushes to his meeting, his thoughts consumed by Mira. He realizes this is his chance to make things right, but he also knows earning her trust won't be easy, especially when the stakes are higher than ever. And so, the stage is set for a journey filled with twists, revelations, and soul-searching moments. Will Mira find it in her heart to forgive Arjun? Or will the wounds of the past prove too deep to heal? Can Arjun redeem himself and rebuild what he destroyed? Or is it already too late? As these questions linger, one thing is certain. Their lives are about to intertwine in ways neither of them could have predicted. Stay tuned, because this is just the beginning of a story that explores love, loss, and the power of second chances. As Mira steps out of the office building, her mind is a whirlwind of emotions. She can't shake off the image of Arjun sitting behind that polished desk, looking so composed yet troubled. 2 years ago, she would have given anything to see him again, to ask him why he left. But now she's not sure what she wants anymore. Her feet carry her aimlessly through the bustling streets, the noise around her fading into a distant hum. As memories flood back, she remembers their college days, how they used to dream about starting a life together, how he promised her the world. And then came the day she found herself standing alone at the altar, clutching a bouquet that wilted in her trembling hands. That moment changed her forever. Back in the office, Arjun struggles to focus on his meeting. His colleagues notice his distracted demeanor, but chalk it up to stress from work. What they don't know is that his mind keeps drifting back to Mira. He replays their heated conversation over and over, each word cutting deeper than the last. He knows he owes her an explanation, but the weight of his secrets feels suffocating. 2 years ago, he disappeared because he had no other choice. A family crisis forced him to leave everything behind, to protect her, or so he told himself. At the time, it seemed like the only way. But now, seeing the pain in her eyes, he wonders if running away was the biggest mistake of his life. Meanwhile, Mira finds herself questioning everything. Was Arjun telling the truth when he said he didn't have a choice? Or was it just another excuse to justify his actions? She remembers snippets of conversations they had before he vanished, cryptic remarks about responsibilities and sacrifices. At the time, she dismissed them as vague musings, but now they feel like pieces of a puzzle she never bothered to solve. Determined to get answers, she decides to dig deeper. That evening, she calls up an old friend who knew Arjun well during their college days. The friend hesitates at first, but eventually reveals something shocking. Arjun's family had been embroiled in financial troubles for years, and there were whispers of threats from dangerous people. Could this be the secret he mentioned? If so, why didn't he trust her enough to share it? The next day, Mira returns to the office, torn between anger and curiosity. She tells herself she's only there to hear him out, not because she still cares, but because she deserves closure. When Arjun sees her, relief washes over his face, though he tries to mask it with professionalism. They agree to meet after work at a quiet cafe nearby. Sitting across from each other, the tension is palpable. Arjun takes a deep breath and begins to unravel the truth. He talks about his father's gambling debts, the loan sharks who threatened his family, and the ultimatum they gave him: disappear or put everyone he loved in danger. Leaving Mira wasn't just heartbreaking, it was agonizing, but he convinced himself it was the right thing to do. Mira listens silently, her expression unreadable. Part of her wants to believe him, to understand the impossible position he was in, but another part of her resents him for making decisions without consulting her. "You could have told me," she says finally, her voice trembling. "We were supposed to face things together, Arjun. Instead, you shut me out completely." Her words hit him like a punch to the gut. He knows she's right, but apologizing won't undo the damage. "I thought I was protecting you," he admits softly. "But maybe I was just too scared to involve you in my mess." As the hours pass, their conversation shifts from accusations to reflections. They talk about the dreams they once shared and how those dreams crumbled under the weight of reality. For the first time in 2 years, they allow themselves to be vulnerable with each other. Yet, amidst the raw honesty, doubts linger. Can they truly move past this? Or are some wounds too deep to heal? Just as they seem to reach a fragile understanding, fate throws another curveball. Arjun's phone buzzes incessantly, and when he picks up, his face turns pale. It's one of the loan sharks, a reminder that the past isn't done haunting him. Yet, panic sets in as Arjun realizes the situation hasn't resolved itself. In fact, it might be worse than before. The caller demands payment within 48 hours, threatening dire consequences if he fails to comply. As he hangs up, Mira notices the fear in his eyes. "What's going on?" she asks cautiously. Reluctantly, Arjun explains that the debt hasn't been fully paid off and that the same people who forced him to leave are back, more ruthless than ever. This revelation shakes Mira to her core. She thought she understood the gravity of his decision, but this new information adds a terrifying layer to the story. Now, not only does she have to grapple with her feelings for Arjun, but she also has to consider whether helping him means putting herself in harm's way. Torn between self-preservation and compassion, Mira spends the night wrestling with her thoughts. She knows walking away would be the safest option, but the idea of abandoning Arjun again feels wrong. Deep down, she realizes she still cares for him, even if she hates what he did. By morning, she makes a decision. She'll help him, but on one condition: complete transparency. No more secrets, no more running. Arjun agrees, grateful for her willingness to stand by him despite everything. Together, they devise a plan to confront the loan sharks head-on, using Arjun's position as CEO to negotiate a settlement. It's a risky move, but they have no other choice. As they prepare for the confrontation, subplots begin to emerge. One of Arjun's closest colleagues, Rajiv, starts noticing unusual behavior and grows suspicious. Unbeknownst to them, Rajiv has ties to the same underworld figures Arjun is dealing with. Meanwhile, Mira confides in her best friend Priya, who warns her about getting too involved. "You're playing with fire," Priya says bluntly. "These people don't care about your feelings or your past. All they want is money, and they'll destroy anyone who gets in their way." Despite the warnings, Mira remains resolute. She knows the risks, but she also knows that turning her back now would mean losing herself entirely. The climax builds steadily as the deadline approaches. Arjun and Mira gather evidence of the illegal activities tied to the loan sharks, hoping to leverage it during negotiations. Tension mounts with every passing hour, their anxiety spilling into arguments and moments of doubt. "Are we doing the right thing?" Mira asks one night, her voice laced with fear. "What if this blows up in our faces?" Arjun doesn't have an answer. All he knows is that they've come too far to turn back now. Their bond, once shattered, begins to strengthen under the pressure of shared adversity. They cling to each other, finding solace in the fact that they're no longer fighting alone. Finally, the day of reckoning arrives. Armed with documents and a carefully crafted strategy, Arjun and Mira head to a secluded location where the loan sharks have agreed to meet. The air is thick with suspense as they step into the dimly lit room. Faces loom in the shadows, their expressions cold and calculating. Arjun takes the lead, presenting their case with a mix of authority and desperation. Mira stands beside him, her presence a silent testament to their unity. For a moment, it seems like their plan might actually work. But then, an unexpected twist sends everything spiraling out of control. A figure emerges from the darkness, someone neither of them anticipated. And with that, the stakes rise higher than ever before. The figure stepping out of the shadows is none other than Rajiv, Arjun's trusted colleague. His presence shocks both Mira and Arjun, but what truly unnerves them is the smug smirk on his face. "Did you really think you could outsmart them?" Rajiv says, his tone dripping with mockery. It turns out he's been working as a middleman for the loan sharks all along, feeding information about Arjun's moves to ensure they stayed one step ahead. The betrayal cuts deep, especially for Arjun, who had considered Rajiv a friend. Tension crackles in the air as the loan sharks close in, their patience wearing thin. They demand immediate payment, threatening violence if their terms aren't met. Mira grips Arjun's hand tightly, her heart pounding. She whispers urgently, "We can't let them win. We have to use the evidence." With no other options left, Arjun pulls out the documents they've gathered, exposing the illegal operations tied to these men. For a moment, there's silence. A dangerous pause where anything could happen. Then, chaos erupts. One of the loan sharks lunges forward, but before things escalate further, sirens blare outside. Unbeknownst to anyone, Priya had secretly contacted the authorities. After learning about the meeting, police storm the room, arresting everyone involved. As the dust settles, Arjun and Mira are left shaken but alive. The danger has passed, but the emotional scars remain. Back at the office days later, Arjun resigns from his position as CEO, realizing how much his family's past has dictated his life. He decides it's time to start fresh, this time with honesty and integrity guiding him. Mira, meanwhile, reflects on her own journey. Helping Arjun confront his demons has forced her to confront hers too. She realizes that while forgiveness doesn't erase pain, it opens the door to healing. Their relationship hangs precariously between resentment and reconciliation. One evening, as they sit together by the riverbank, the same spot where they used to dream about their future, Arjun finally breaks the silence. "I know I don't deserve a second chance," he says softly, staring at the water, "but I want you to know that I'll spend the rest of my life making up for what I did, if you'll let me." Mira looks at him, tears welling up in her eyes. After everything they've been through, she knows trust won't come easily, but she also knows she still loves him. "It's not going to be easy," she replies, her voice steady. "But maybe we can try." With that tentative agreement, they begin rebuilding. Not just their relationship, but themselves. Subplots tie up neatly. Rajiv faces legal consequences for his role in the scheme, serving as a reminder of misplaced loyalty and greed. Priya, though initially hesitant, becomes Mira's rock throughout the ordeal, strengthening their friendship. And Arjun's family, once burdened by debt and fear, finds closure, knowing the threat is finally over. The story ends on a hopeful note, with Arjun and Mira standing side by side, ready to face whatever comes next. They've learned that love isn't just about grand gestures or perfect moments. It's about fighting for each other, even when the odds seem insurmountable. Their journey serves as a powerful reflection on forgiveness, resilience, and the courage to rebuild after loss. As the camera pans out, showing them walking hand in hand into the sunset, viewers are left with a lingering thought: life may throw us curveballs, but it's our choices that define who we become. For anyone watching, this tale underscores the importance of communication, trust, and second chances. It reminds us that while the past shapes us, it doesn't have to imprison us. Whether you're rooting for Mira and Arjun, or simply reflecting on your own experiences, their story stays with you, a testament to the enduring power of hope and human connection.